All right, welcome back, man. I think it's number 10.
Number 10.
Number 10. Oh my God, I can't believe we did it.
I know, like going through, like looking at the videos, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like we put out that many. But then I'm looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember talking about that. Oh yeah, it's pretty cool.
The constant, we got to get this recorded. Yeah. I don't care what it takes. Closets, bathrooms, whatever. We're getting it recorded. That's the best part.
Wherever we can find straight up pirate radio hideouts.
Dude, anywhere. I want a banner so bad, just so I could just be like, it's the same studio.
This is where we're at.
Every time. But dude, I got a good one for today because I know I keep missing introduction, so I had to have it. Are you ready to talk about the comet that narrowly missed Earth and almost ended life as we know it?
Like, I know the thing is nobody wants to talk about that, but I kind of do want to hear about it, actually.
Well, long story short, recently there was a comet that passed Earth, and recently, I mean in astronomical units, like 8 months ago, but we all were almost gone for good.
You know, it was probably Bruce Willis. He probably saved us.
Just Bruce Willis out there in just the middle of the ocean, just spinning with his arms up in the air. Oh my God, dude. I couldn't imagine. Like, well, I know I've said it before. I just want to be peacefully with my family. Like, just, well, we could get a lawnmower. We could take off the blades off the bottom and turn them into machetes. And I'm just like, no. I'm just going to burn.
I'm just going to hang out a little bit.
I would prefer to just burn a fiery death than have to deal with that, but... How you been?
All right, man. It's really boring.
Really boring? I feel like there's always something to do in my house. It's just constantly ripped out bushes yesterday.
I've just been building chicken coops.
So it was awesome because we had this idea we'll get a tow rope and put it to the back of the car and then wrap it around the bush. Yeah. And then just pull it out, right? Like real arborists.
Obviously, you haven't watched any of those videos online.
I was
where the guy like takes off like he's trying to pull a tree down or something and just rips the whole back end of his truck out.
You can't just like instantly do it. You gotta just slowly let it move.
Nope, send it.
No, dude, it didn't work at all. It didn't work at all. It was so dumb. I was like, all right, go slow, nice and slow, just nice and slow. And I was like, oh, no, stop.
Rope's gonna break.
So
fly through your back window.
It filleted the tree. It seemed like it just cut it in half and ripped all the branches off, and then I still had the roots to deal with. And this tree is so dumb. It's just a big bush, but the roots were the same as the bushes, so it just grew in a bunch of different directions. So I had to just get in there with like shears underground and like cut.
It's like the front of your house,
yeah,
like by the front door.
Yeah, it looks awful now because all the trees are gone. But
yeah.
Oh, man.
Landscaping.
I hate it. It was just physical pain. I should have done it in the morning, but 3 o'clock rolls around is like perfect time.
Yeah. The weather's been nice, though.
Nice and hot. Like, there was no ice left in our ice machine because I was just crushing water and putting more in. Oh, man. Could have been worse, though. But how about a nice nostalgia? So, something crazy.
Hashtag nostalgia. What?
Yeah. All right. So... Florida, right?
Yeah.
Best place on the planet.
Hurricane, is it Ian?
Ian. Decimated.
Yeah. Dude, I was looking, I've been seeing like they loop it on the news and like just all the boats just like stacked up on the businesses, like on top of like buildings and houses. Like it's nuts.
Yeah. At first I was like, it's not going to be a big deal.
It's another hurricane.
It's just another hurricane. I mean, you lived overseas and I'm from Florida, so hurricanes are no big deal to me. And I truly think once we get into conspiracy corner, they're going to be different, but it's not a category 5.
Yeah.
Because like I lost everything in Hurricane Andrew. Like we had to go live in Tampa with my aunt. My house had to get rebuilt. I mean, I was 2 at the time, but we still lost everything.
That's crazy.
And now looking back, I'm like, this seems like a conspiracy that they didn't want to call it a category 5 hurricane for like insurance reasons.
Oh yeah. I can see that.
Because if they don't tell you that it's a category 5, then, you know, you're not going to evacuate, you're not going to do this, whatever, or you're not going to take proper precautions. But if it's a category 4, it's still chill. You know, maybe it's easier to pay out life insurance than it is, you know, your house and 2 cars. And
got a bonus conspiracy corner.
Bonus conspiracy corner. Oh, man. Well, you ever experienced a hurricane?
Typhoons. over in Japan. Like I've literally watched those like roll through, and like you'll be looking, because we had like the storm doors like on all of our houses and everything, so it's just like a metal door, and you can like literally sit there and like watch it flexing in and out with the wind.
It's terrifying.
I looked out my window one time and I actually saw a car like slide like a couple parking spaces over and then roll over and just take off.
Like, so it was basically drift.
Yeah, it was like in the parking space, and then it just starts sliding sideways and then flips and it's gone.
Oh no. I remember, I do have vague memories of Hurricane Andrew. Yeah. So we went back to our house and we were looking around, and I remember seeing a car like in the side of a house, and I was amazed. I was like, how did that happen? And you just see people's clothes like still on the hangers. You know what I mean? I was like, what is going on? And we're just like, we can't live here anymore.
We had one of those, the storms came through, and like the neighbor, like behind his house across the street from me, he had one of those like metal sheds, like for like lawnmowers and stuff. And I was coming home one day and I saw that he had it like cargo strapped down, and then he had like cinder blocks on top of it. I'm like, yeah, that'll hold, bro. Like I was joking about it that day, but then the storm rolls through and I watched that shed fly from around his house down my street and hit my car. I knew it.
Son of a... I hope he just had like those wimpy like
they were
metal ones.
Garbage
No, I mean at like the soccer fields my kids play at, they hold the goals down, but they're 14-inch rebars in a U shape dug into the ground, and I just assumed this guy just had these little tiny baby
just little like tent stakes.
Like a car strap, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, like you put, it's like the aluminum side, like little shed, right? So like he puts all this weight on top, like when the wind starts blowing, it's just going to collapse.
Yeah.
And then what is your strap going to do? Nothing. And it didn't. It flew and hit my
car.
Because
then it's
going to be loose. Yeah. It just flew and hit my car.
Not to mention the cinder blocks that are definitely not hurricane safe. Or they just get lifted off.
Oh yeah.
Because those aren't
like they're flipping cars, so like a cinder block's no problem.
God. That's funny.
Yeah. Bro. I'm still mad at that dude.
Oh my god. So I mean, I grew up in Florida, so lost it in Andrew, and then there's the meme that in like 2004 we got like a month off of school. Like that's totally true.
Yeah.
I think I had my license at that point in time too, so I was just driving around and over palm fronds, like everything, and we were just like, man, this is great, and then we can't go back to school because even nowadays, like if the wind is over like 20 miles an hour, like buses can't drive.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. It's just super weird stuff, man. I think it varies from place to place because they got to keep the children safe.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we don't have any food and we're grilling all the time and we're just kind of hanging out outside. And the weather, it's like hurricanes are so weird too because it's horrible while it's happening, but then after the fact, it's just nice for a few days.
Yeah.
And there's no rain, no nothing. It's just calm weather.
Yeah, everything's wrecked, but the weather's really nice.
They said that on the news recently. They're like, oh yeah, it's crazy because the weather's gonna be beautiful the next couple of days while people just like are calling FEMA. They don't have a house.
My house is under a boat.
Damn you, newsman. Oh jeez.
We know that you're experiencing the worst crisis of your lifetime, but the weather's gonna be beautiful.
It's gonna be beautiful. You'll want to sleep outside. No, I want to sleep in my house.
It's underwater.
I have this weird story. Like my parents were telling us, they went back after Andrew, so they left us in Tampa. And when they went back, I know it's somewhere, but there's a VHS tape that my parents just like took of Hurricane Andrew, like driving back into Miami, and like everything was just destroyed. It was horrible, like ghetto VHS tape days, and they were telling me that there was like I don't want to say it's a 10-foot crab, but there was a giant crab in our pool, and they didn't know what to do, so they had to call animal services to get it out.
Come get this crab, please.
It's just a giant crab, just like, this is my home.
I own this now.
This is my land. And then
they have that on tape?
It's somewhere.
Dude,
I know
need
they
to find
do.
that video.
I don't know if my mom might have it, but I've seen the tape. I know it did exist, or it did exist. Now it's just trash. But I mean, I could only imagine like weird hairstyles, like my dad in short shorts. Oh my God! Look how terrible this is. That's not how my dad talks.
That's exactly what his dad sounds like.
Bobby. Oh shit. But anyways, that's enough about hurricanes. But I got another idea for hurricanes.
Okay.
As always in this channel, 10 episodes in.
Yeah.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, because this is where you're going to really want to tune in. I will always like to introduce new segments, and I always text Adam. I'm like, what do you think about this? And he doesn't text me back. So
I'm terrible at texting. I'm the worst.
And then I'm like, what do you think about the new segment idea? He's just, well, you just said a statement.
Yeah.
You added nothing to it.
Yeah. Like, hey, I got an idea for a new segment.
Good.
That's it. I can't tell you what I think about your new segment idea.
But it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you're into MMA, right?
I have done that before, yeah.
And if you didn't notice, the last time I titled it, Joe Rogan said what? And it was really kind of like an experiment because Mr. Beast is, title, thumbnail, content. If you make good content, whatever. So I figured, what if we did an around the internet segment? You know, if I'm going to title it these weird things, we're gonna have to actually talk about it. Talk about stuff that's going on around the internet. And, maybe people like to hear about that stuff. We'll find out. Let me know down in the comment section. But around the internet might become a daily segment because there's a lot of craziness on the internet.
Sure.
So you're into MMA, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know the difference, but UFC and MMA, is there a difference?
No, UFC is just a company. Like, they're the most popular company for MMA. The whole sport is mixed martial arts, and UFC is just the biggest promoter. So, like, you have all, like, Bellator, King of the Cage. Like, they're all MMA, like, fighting championships, but UFC is just the biggest one.
Huh. Yeah, because I have honestly no idea.
Yeah, everyone always says, like, oh, you did UFC. Like, no, I did not do UFC.
Wouldn't be in the Air Force right now.
Yeah. So actually, I had a guy from my gym go on. Did you ever watch any of that UFC stuff? Did you ever see Ultimate Fighter?
No, dude. That stuff just honestly doesn't interest me.
Back in the day, I don't know if they're still doing it now, but back in the day, it was a big thing. Like, they had Ultimate Fighter, so they would bring local guys to train with like two of the biggest stars in UFC, and like they would it was a competition. They would weed out guys, and then the guy that won at the end of the show would get a contract into the UFC.
Really?
And one of the guys from my gym was actually on there. He made it kind of far, but he didn't end up winning. But yeah, so
that's cool.
Yeah.
So one of the most famous people I would say on YouTube, maybe the internet celebrityism right now, is Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Right. So recently, this dude's made the list of the world's best boxers, which is wild because it's just not something you would expect. Even myself at first, I was like, what do these people know about boxing?
Yeah.
Turns out they're like 6'3", 6'4", and super athletic. So
he actually, I think it was Jake Paul. He opened up like his own like boxing academy or something.
Yeah,
in
he's
South America.
actually doing a lot for the sport of boxing too. So it's kind of just like I don't want to say put his money where his mouth is, but prove that like he actually cares about the sport. So you know.
Good when you come out and you're like, put me up against any one of your fighters that has like, less than 10 fights or whatever, and I'll put them in the ground. Like, anybody comes out and says that, they're going to be like, okay, whatever, kid, you're going to get decimated.
Yeah.
But he actually did it.
Yeah, he actually is winning too.
Yeah.
And it's pretty wild as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk any more stuff about him because hey, you're doing it, bud. You said I'm gonna do it, and you did it. And
now he's talking about UFC, and I think he called out Patty the Batty. So if you don't watch UFC, you don't know, but he's a character anyway. If that's true, and like he called him out, and he goes and does the same thing in the UFC, there's no stopping this guy.
Well, like so I wanted to talk about this one because I know you secretly were an MMA fighter and didn't tell me about it.
Yeah.
But like, what is the transition between boxing to MMA? Is it a big difference? Or
yeah. So I started boxing. And
sorry to cut you off, but just to clarify, so the story is that Jake Paul is going from boxing to MMA. Yep. So what is,
Yeah, so boxing, I started boxing too. Like, I'm not saying I'm anywhere near that level. Like, just local gyms. Like, I started boxing too, and then my boxing coach ended up being the MMA coach, and he's like, oh, you might be interested in this. So, and I went and started doing MMA. But, boxing is a lot of footwear. Obviously, it's all hands. Mm-hmm. So different weighted gloves. So even your athleticism and your cardio is different because you got more weight on your hands. 4-ounce gloves versus like 12 and 16-ounce gloves. Speed in boxing is, obviously it's in MMA it's key too. But like when you're talking MMA, like you're adding 2 or 3 more levels onto it. Instead of just standing and banging with your hands the whole time, you got to worry about kicks, you got to worry about takedowns, you got to worry about jiu-jitsu and ground game and stuff like that.
Because you're upright. I mean, I'm assuming you're upright in boxing the entire time.
Like, I mean, like you can clinch up and stuff, but generally, like you'll see them like end up clenched up and they'll throw rabbit punches or something like that, and then the ref will break them up.
Kick you, right?
No,
like
absolutely not.
Like if you're,
you could get
boxing
kicked.
Mike Tyson and you kick him, he's gonna be like, I don't know what to do right now.
So all hands versus hands, elbows, knees, kicking.
I mean, do you train any similarly or?
So a lot of like if you're training speed for standing up, and a lot of it is going to be a crossover with boxing training and stuff like that, but then they're going to be throwing in kicks and knees and takedown defense and stuff like that. So when you're just talking punching, then a lot of the technique is going to be boxing. So
I wonder if it's going to be an easy transition.
I doubt it.
Really?
I doubt it. I mean, he's an athletic dude, so I'm sure he's going to train a lot with a lot of wrestlers. That's a really good avenue that you'll see any of the professional MMA guys do, training with like professional, like collegiate or Olympic wrestling coaches, Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. And then, like he'll probably keep going with his boxing for stand-up, but he needs to add in kicking and kneeing and elbowing. But I mean, he's an athletic guy, so I'm sure he's gonna do good things.
I mean,
he puts his heart into it.
Surprised, Like at this
he
point,
puts in the work.
Send it, let's see it.
Yeah, he puts in the work, and I'll watch it. I want to see what this guy can do, because whenever I first saw him, like calling out people in boxing, and like this kid from YouTube, like trying to step into like a professional boxing ring and then actually doing something, I want to see how far he can take it.
I think I do too. At this point, because like I said, he put his money where his mouth is, and he came out and shut people up, and then started to give back to the sport, because I think a lot of really good fighters aren't promoted as much because maybe they're not as marketable, but they're more talented, right? Because if you're awkward and weird in front of a camera, like half of being on television is that what's his nuts?
Yeah, your personality.
Your
television personality.
Is it the Irish guy? Conor
McGregor.
Yeah, dude. Like,
I love Conor.
You want to watch him.
Yeah.
You want to see what he's going to do next. You want to see what he's going to say. And there are probably people who are more talented, but just don't have that.
Not many.
There's got to be. I mean,
sure.
Who just like,
there's always a guy
there.
Out there.
It's like, you're really good, and I don't really care if you can talk in front of the camera, because if you're just like thumbs up at the weigh-in and you're not pushing the other guys, you're just like, you just don't care about that.
Everybody wants to watch Conor.
Because he's a spectacle.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Man. But hey, with that, what do you think about What the News? All right. You aren't going to believe this What the News. It's hilarious. And it's from where I just came from, Omaha.
Nice.
So if you didn't know, Omaha has one of the nicest zoos. And for all you PETA advocates out there, I'm sorry, but it's a really nice zoo, and I like spending time there. They did those brew at the zoo, boo at the zoo.
That's awesome.
I mean, we had a season pass. We would go there constantly. Like, we were always there. And this is a little old, but so there's a Fu Manchu, the famed orangutan escape artist, learned to pick locks in Nebraska. And I have never heard of this. And I promise you, like, at least twice a month we went to the zoo.
Like, there's probably pictures on your phone of this orangutan.
And I was just unbelievably, like, this came from a viewer, by the way, shout out, that told me about it. And he just kind of like in passing, hey, I got something for What the News. I was like, okay, whatever. Because I'm just thinking about a million different things. And then he said there's an orangutan that picked locks. And I was like, no, there wasn't.
That's a thing.
Send it to me now. So basically, this orangutan would very playful, friendly, doing all the things just that an orangutan would do. Because when you go into the Omaha Zoo, there's this, you get there. And anyways, the gorilla enclosure is this long, you kind of walk through it, and then there's another area. So they have the outdoor area, and then they have like this little indoor area, and then there's this other area.
It's a lot of areas.
It's a big enclosure comparably to, them being in the wild, right? Thanks again, PETA, for making me think about this every single time I go. But they, would sit in there, and I guess he would make locks. He would watch him make the lock. He'd put a piece of tinfoil in his mouth, and he'd turn it into a little key and would escape. So in 1968, the zookeepers, they would find Fu Manchu and 4 of his enclosure mates outside of their enclosure. So this is some real...
So he's busting out all his buddies, too.
Yeah, he's like, yo, let's go.
Just wait till this place closes. We're out of here.
Koba. So this dude was crazy. The group never caused trouble or tried to leave the zoo grounds. They just wanted to get out of their enclosure.
Walk around, check out the snack bar.
Yeah, so the head keeper surmised that one of his staff was being careless and leaving the door unlocked. But then
like, how many people you think they fired?
Hey, dude, just
like all the enclosure, like people working at the zoo, like he just keeps firing people, and they find out that it's just the orangutan picking the lock.
Yeah, apparently he was just incredibly intelligent. Using a piece of wire he found somewhere to hide it, he would tuck it in between his lips and his gums and take it out when he wanted to get out of the enclosure.
Just a hardened criminal smuggling keys.
I love this guy. He's just... Oh, perfect.
Just make this... Oh, they're coming.
They're coming. Hide it. I'm not going to put my hand in a gorilla's mouth. You are crazy if you think I'm going to do that.
And he knew it.
He knew it.
He knew it.
I mean, they've got fangs. They're literally the strongest animals on the planet. I know Joe Rogan's out there somewhere just, but have you ever seen a gorilla bench press? Like, no, Joe Rogan.
There's probably a video somewhere of a gorilla bench pressing.
Oh, my God. Dude, those guys are so funny. I mean, they're being gorillas, so you just watch them pick their butts, like pooping, like just
it's all an act.
They'd run up, slap the other gorilla, and run away, and just like, oh, look how cool. And then they have the skeleton of them, and a skeleton, like a gorilla skeleton, and then a human skeleton in this enclosure, and you're like, oh, there's so much like us. I'm like, no, they're absolutely not. I mean, I don't know if you believe in the theory of evolution or not, but I could see it, but it's going to take a real long time.
Yeah. Just picking locks.
Dude, what would you do if you just were chilling and you're just a security guard, just beep popping at like 1 a.m. You're chilling. You're just vibing. I don't know. What's a good song?
Riding around on my golf cart.
Just, it's like, they said 1998. So, I don't know. It's the early 2000s. Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Toxic.
That's definitely what would have been on.
You're just vibing.
On my iPod shuffle.
Just Britney Spears Toxic. And then you just, turn a corner, not thinking anything, and you just see a gorilla. I would run.
I'd be like, I do not get paid enough to try and catch this monkey.
Oh my goodness, I would flip.
No, that would suck.
Or like, what if?
They said he was super chill. Like, you're just sitting there like driving around vibing, and then he's just like, "What's up?" He's just like trying to hand you food.
I guess I'm just vibing with. You
cool.
Just give him one of your earbuds.
Give him the earbud.
Talk to your lips. He's just like, is this Britney Spears?
I love this album.
She's so good. She's my favorite. Oh man,
that'd be cool.
God, I think this is a perfect transition, man. And then we got the crowd favorite, Conspiracy Corner.
Conspiracy Corner.
Oh my god! All right, this one's got airplanes.
I like airplanes.
Hijacking. Sweet. Parachutes. Might be a CIA, FBI informant turned rogue criminal.
DB Cooper.
This is Legend of DB
Cooper. It's DB Cooper.
So I have been fascinated by this one because they think they know who it is. They think they might have an idea of who he is. He might be dead. But this guy, complete badass. Like Chuck Norris, DB Cooper, John Wick. He's up there, dude. Bob Ross. He's up there with
Bob Ross. I mean, granted, he's awesome, but like I wouldn't have thrown him in that list.
Chuck Norris,
DB Cooper, Bob Ross.
Okay, so if you didn't know who DB Cooper was, he was a criminal in 1971.
He's like a bank robber, right?
I guess.
Something like that.
He was, either way, he was traveling on a commercial plane, just a normal guy. Just one day, decides to suit up, and he wants to go from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
And later on, parachuted out of the aircraft, and I 20,000 feet?
Sure.
With some ransom money. And so, long story, it was the day before Thanksgiving. He appeared to be in his mid-40s, 6 feet tall, handsome AF. He bought a $20 ticket. $20. That is inflation right there, my man. From Northwest Orient Airlines flight 305. He gave his name as Dan Cooper, who later turned out to be fake. Also, another thing here, traveling by airplane in the early, 70s, 80s, 90s must have been insane. Thinking, we're in our mid-30s, so you could just walk into an airport and just go hang out there, to live in the terminal, and nobody cared. Because if you watch old movies, there's always those weird religious people handing out flowers who kind of look like me, and they have a little thing right here, and you're just like, bro, what? You're just like, no, I'm just trying to catch my flight. Even in Home Alone, they're in there. So he gave his name, which it's so weird because I literally just bought plane tickets last night. Actually.
I mean, it's like pre 9/11, man. It was like a cab. You just go in there and be like, I want to go to here. Okay, $20.
You think that's why tickets are so expensive? Is because of all the
they got to pay for all the security.
Yeah, the security, the infrastructure, 8 million body scanners.
Yeah,
all the training.
Sounds like a conspiracy corner.
Man, we already did the Denver airport. People are getting real sick of airplanes.
That was Illuminati though. We go into airline prices, paying for TSA and it's obviously not paying for their training.
I got a really, really good one coming on, spoiler alert, about used cars. It's going to blow your mind.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just so maybe next time. But he gave his name, Dan Cooper, then proceeded to he proceeded to hand a note to the flight attendant, which he's like, I got a bomb. So just no big deal. He could have been sitting in line for Burger King in the airport with a bomb strapped to him, and nobody had any idea. Also insane. And which he claimed to have a bomb in his briefcase, then proceeded to open the attached case, which contained numerous wires, red sticks, and a battery. He demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills, worth now, inflation, 1.2 milli.
Nice.
All right, so they landed in Seattle. He released all the passengers. Authorities provided the money. However, he forced the 2 pilots, a flight engineer, and a flight attendant to remain on the plane. After he refueled, he ordered the pilots to fly to Mexico. So per his instructions, they flew under 10,000 feet at a lower speed than 200 knots. This dude knew what he was doing.
He knew, yeah. He had it all planned out.
I mean, and he had to have jump experience. You don't just
to know the altitude and the speed.
Right?
Yeah.
So he widely believed being near Ariel, Washington. Cooper lowered the rear steps and jumped. Then he disappeared. That was the last time they ever saw him. So this has become one of the longest and most exhaustive investigations in history, known as NORJAC, the Northwest Hijacking. Initially, the agency believed that Cooper knew both planes and the area, and was speculated that he served in the military. I mean,
makes sense.
You're onto something here. They think people could have been him, but based on the DNA evidence that was recovered from the tie Cooper took off before jumping, so he even knew to take off his tie.
Yeah, so he didn't get wind whipped.
That it wasn't him.
Yep.
Oh man, I wonder if 23andMe could get behind this. Maybe they'll hear the podcast and be like, oh, "It's a great idea."
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been all over the place, even in pop culture. Fairly recent was that Without a Paddle.
Yeah.
That comedy movie with Seth Green. Their whole thing was they were obsessed with D.V. Cooper and they were kids, and then they went on a camping trip to go try and find his money or whatever. So
they found him.
Yeah,
they found him.
They found him.
And then I think at the end they were like, "You stole me a testicle." And he's like, "Ah!"
They find the hippie chicks in the trees.
Oh yeah, They use their feet for stuff. Ooh, wow. That's. Oh man, there's their black bottom feet. Just I'd die. Could you imagine if somebody handed you a fork with their feet? Would lose it, dude. Yeah, they found a decaying package at one point with $5,800 in it along the Columbia River. So that could have been some of the money.
Yeah, I lost some of the money on the way down.
This dude just jumped out of a plane in just a linen shirt and flat leather shoes.
Yep.
This dude is crazy. I don't know.
He knew what he was doing.
Have you ever jumped out of a plane?
No.
I want to.
I
do too, because I was a load master at one point, so I watched the guys jump out, and I've heard stories of this dude who was about to retire and just sent it with one of them because we, put parachutes on or you hook into the floor or whatever. And he just was like, I'm retiring, so
who cares? I'm just going to jump.
And then the plane landed without a loadmaster, and I was like, I don't know if it's real or not. It's one of those just like it's in the ether. Somebody's pulling your leg.
Story could be true, maybe not.
Oh, man.
No, I would love to jump out of a plane, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just escorted him right to the gate and took his CAC and were just like, what were you doing?
Yeah. You're not retired. You are in jail.
I hope that when I do actually jump out of a plane that I'm going to go up there just like stone cold, like, oh, I'm so cool. I'm so cool. And we're going to get to the door and I'm just going to fucking lose my mind. Just like,
I can't do it.
I'm pretty sure I've seen a video of an old lady who was just like, I'm dying soon or something. She's old. Yeah. It's on my bucket list. She jumps out of a plane and the guy's like, stop. And she somehow, so the guy's out, you know, like the flying squirrel, and she's just kind of like folded like a pancake and her butt's just at the bottom, and because she was like gonna fall out of the parachute. Dude, I don't know. My sister-in-law actually went parasailing. She jumped out of a plane with a parachute on. That's what she did. But I don't know. I was watching the video because they video you.
Yeah.
And the guy's like giving her the finger to like get her to like, react, and she's kind of vibing.
Just chilling.
The guy's like, fuck you. And she's like, what are you doing? Like, I'm paying you. Like, don't give me the finger.
I'm paying you. I'm not paying you to flip me off.
Oh my God. That's too funny, man.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Funny.
I'd do it.
Jeez. Could you ever be in the FBI?
Could I be? I mean, like, I want to know, like, the crazy stories, like, because it has, like, government agency, and we talk about Conspiracy Corner. Like, there's got to be stuff that they're just like, you can't talk about this.
Don't say a word.
I want to imagine that there's just, like, a book, like, you want to know about D.B. Cooper? Chapter 23, page 6.
There it is.
There's the answers right there. Don't talk about this.
This is how people go missing.
I mean, I'm sure it's not that way, but
no, dude. Are you kidding me? You know how easy it'd be to just like erase someone?
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you've got like actual ties to the government, you could probably just be like, oh, I don't know, what's a random name? Colby. I don't know. I'm just thinking about One Piece. Colby is no more. There's like, cool. Colby, delete.
Deleted from the database.
I mean, just imagine if you could just delete someone's social security number, right? Like you just, Colby Edwards?
Yeah. That guy, somebody cut you off on the way into work. You run his plates.
Yeah, just, you're gone, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, make sure to erase those student loans, too.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones that don't go away, even after you die. So, DB Cooper, man.
That sucks. Yeah. DB Cooper.
DB Coops. Coopy.
Like, do you honestly think, like, that these will ever be solved? Like, we got DB Cooper, Jimmy Hoffa.
They have to be. I mean, I can't wait till we get into, like, JFK and stuff like that.
JFK.
I mean, because I think Jimmy Hoffa was the union guy.
Yeah.
There was another mobster that basically said, hey, I'm the one that took out that JFK guy because he was basically ruining his business. And
Jack Ruby.
Yep. And prior to that, I mean, JFK, there really wasn't a Secret Service, I don't think, at that time. Or, I don't know, somebody took it seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was in an open motorcade.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of, I know he's a man of the people, and I know he did great things, but at the same time, like, why wouldn't you do a little bit more for your security? That doesn't make sense to me. So, that's why.
Waving to the people.
Conspiracy Corner is a thing.
That's why we talk about these things.
That's why we love them. But with that, dude, I think it's it.
Episode 10 in the books.
10.
Yeah.
A long one.
It's awesome.
It's going to happen no matter what.
It's going to happen.
No matter how awkward I have to be, I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want to see anything in any of these segments, #nostalgia, what the news around the internet.
The orangutan.
Conspiracy Corner.
And DB Cooper were both fan submissions.
There you go.
So y'all know who you are. But we appreciate it because if I think it's hilarious, I'm going to do it.
Yep. So if you guys got anything you want to see, you want to hear, let us know. Drop it in the comments down below. Yep. Like and subscribe.
That's the big one.
Yep. And we'll see you in episode 10.
And if you made it this far, I know it's with the closing arguments for episode 10, let's do something. Put spooky in the comments.
Spooky.
It's spooky season.
Yeah, it is.
All right, guys. Well, with that, see ya.
See ya.